So the exhibition Land of Fire came about after the Bega Art Prize, an award I was very honored to receive from Kunsthalle Bega, the institution hosting the entire project. And well, it's the first exhibition I'm doing in Romania after almost 2 decades, and it's a great honor for me to be able to be back and to be working with my colleagues, very dear friends, co-curators, Vătămanu and Florin Tudor, with an incredible group of artists who are really engaged in conversations that are extremely challenging, illuminating, and I think generative. It's amazing to work with the institution, which has been incredibly generous and very professional and really warm and ambitious as well in realizing this entire project. So the exhibition also came about from, I think, like longer processes of thinking about issues that are, I think, concerning many people of our generation in the Romanian context. The main idea of the exhibition is to trace lineages, streams, both in the history, in the general history of the different communities that formed, that ended up forming what is today's Romania, as well as in the multiple art histories, in the systems of representation, in the vocabularies and systems of building images that all these communities have had, and which now need to be discussed together in the context of grappling with I think today's Romania in all its complexity. So given this topic, I think the exhibition was something that myself was thinking about, I think, many years prior to receiving the invitation and actually working on its production. But I think many of the artists and Vătămanu and Florin Tudor as well, these are topics that I think are very close to our lives, our thinking, our general sense of biography. I think when I mentioned these streams, I was referring to both moments and currents of darkness, as well as moments that are brighter, that are moments of grace and of progress in the history of Romania, and both of them are both directions have been marginalized or kept in the shadows for various reasons. So I think the exhibition tries to place itself in this in the continuation of the work of, I think, already like many people, and also like in the anticipation of further work to carry conversations that we think must be had in the Romanian context. So this includes subjects related to Romania's history that, particularly in the last decade and a half, have been discussed more in relation to Romania's participation in the Second World War, with its fascist past, with the enslavement of Roma for over half a millennium. But we also try to look at maybe less discussed subjects within this history, including the participation, the proximity, as well as the benefits that Romania and Romanian territories have had in relation to the European colonial project. So that's, I think, an important chapter of the exhibition as well. And we're looking at several figures, both from the, let's say, a Romanian perspective as well as from different points of view, from the places where these colonial endeavors under a Romanian leadership and vision have happened. I think, like most people, one is intimately related to one's context, and no matter what other engagements and affinities and senses of responsibility one acquires over time as one moves to other places, I think the kind of engagement, the intellectual engagement and the effective connections to Romania have always been strong, and it always meant that there were many thinking processes, many ideas that I always had in relation to this. So I think there was always the idea of thinking of potential exhibitions to be done here. So when such a generous invitation after the Bega Art Prize came from Kunsthalle Bega, and then when the actual conversation and the level of ambition and dedication that the team showed in realizing the ideal case scenario, the an exhibition that really tried to push the boundaries, then it was clear that this was the opportunity to bring together all these thoughts and to take them further, bringing on board of the co-curators Mona Vătămanu and Florin Tudor, who have been very dear friends and collaborators. I mean, mostly in a kind of curator-artist relationship, but over also more than a decade. But they've also been, and this is of course significant here, partners of dialogue on art and life and politics and many issues that have become the backbone of the exhibition, both in relation to Romania and in relation to the processes of recording of Romanian history. And also more specifically in relation to the different lineages and genealogies of art history that are woven into the exhibition. Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of people's reactions, I think, people were generally very positive and welcoming. I mean, there's many conversations in the exhibition, so I think, perhaps there are some conversations that are more immediately appealing or immediately relevant to some audience members over others. I think it's also, there is an intensity of quantity of conversations, and many of them are complicated, in fact. So it will probably take more time to really assess the real reactions, or the reactions that go beyond the first encounter of an exhibition, and to really be able to assess the longer term effects and the kind of conversations and further continuation of these streams that we certainly hope that the exhibition would be able to bring. I mean, that is ultimately the reason why we made the exhibition. I wouldn't want to say start, because I think even if, of course, the whole point of the exhibition was that these subjects are not discussed enough, not nearly enough. But we haven't started anything. I mean, there's people who have started many things, who have been discussing in different ways and in different contexts. So I think it was more about bringing together different positions and ideas. I mean, it was important for us to bring in as many voices as possible. I mean, people who have already worked with subjects connected to the I think, general sphere of interest of the exhibition, as well as artists who have not necessarily tackled any of these particular topics prior to the invitation, but certainly had an opening in their practice and certainly had an interest that was compatible with this kind of conversation. I mean, we had quite a lot of new commissions, and we also had existing work, so it was also like a mix of these two. I think with the new commissions we worked quite closely. I mean, we had like quite intense dialogue with the artists doing new works, and I mean, that's always very rewarding. And yeah, it was also a process of learning together, and I think, you know, to a large extent this is about bringing together the concerns of, well, the concerns of a generation, I would say, but of course the generation is quite wide, and of course the actual exhibition actually includes artistic positions that span 2 centuries, essentially. But I think there is something about this particular moment where many of these conversations are, you know, at the right time, at the ripe time to be had. And I think that's felt throughout the exhibition. I think also in a lot of the works there is a sense of urgency, and there is a sense of confidence in the assertions that are made, you know, even if those are in fact questions. I don't think I have like a particular theme. I mean, I think it's important as a curator to be aware of the context where you work, and context can mean, you know, very different things. It's not context is something that context is something that surrounds a place, an item, an idea. So it's an entirely conventional decision of like where one draws the borders around that, like how wide they are, what is the shape, how much they extend in one direction or another. But that being said, you know, it's always important to have, you know, a relevant context, and to have a sense of responsibility towards it, to you know, have a sincerity in the practice, and then to also like be led by curiosity, which I think ultimately manifests in the work that one does.